I didn't feel any more skilled than the last time we did this.
I'm sure you are though without knowing it. We're back. We're in Melbourne. How long has it been since we last filmed a video?
9 months? No. Was it October?
No, it's September. When I was staying.
Yeah, when you were looking after Juliet's dog.
Harriet.
So welcome.
Harriet's dog.
You called it Juliet. So welcome.
Is that what you meant earlier when you So welcome. So welcome. How do you mean Harriet? I was thinking, how does she know it's from Juliet's father?
Got a face on him. Look at him. He's so tan. Look how tan he is compared to me. I've lost all my tan now. Queensland does it here.
R.I.P. tan. Welcome.
Welcome to a Q&A vlog with Jamie. We wanted to do this for a while because Jamie has been on the farm since January and he's got lots of stories that he's been sharing with me since he's been there, and I wanted to get it all out of him, put it on YouTube to expose Farmgate.
Dun dun dun.
You did that in the last video as well, didn't you? Dun, dun, dun.
I feel like as well, like, it's quite a continuation of our last video, isn't it?
Yes.
'Cause I feel like, I don't know, quite a lot of the predictions and questions we had kind of could be answered from this video, because you've actually lived it.
You were like, oh, imagine we're doing like our farm work together.
Yeah.
I could have done that, and I kind of wish I had, but I don't have any regrets. Like, I've enjoyed my first 6 months in Oz, so I don't want to go back and change anything.
Yeah.
I just wish I didn't have to do it full stop. But if I do have to go and do farm work, all the stories Jamie's been telling me are actually kind of selling it to me. So hi if you're new here. If you haven't seen mine and Jamie's previous video from before we came to Australia, we talked about quitting our jobs, our marketing jobs, to
God, that
come
seems
over
like
here.
worlds ago now.
So much has happened.
Yeah.
We are different people in a way, but the same.
The same. Why did I eat nuts? Because I'm literally like I'm
We had some cashew nuts.
picking my teeth the whole video.
I'm hungry and I've got no food here because we've got a food shop coming. So
Exactly the information they need.
alright, so I'm trying to say, if you want some information or want to hear how farm work has been for Jamie, here he is.
Stick around.
So
Yeah, so
we've got Tia in the background over there. Doesn't want to be in it.
Don't look at me.
So yeah, I've just come back from being on a farm in Queensland for 4 months, which is actually a month more than I should have been there. We'll probably get more into that.
So it took you
to do my 88
4 months to do 88
Yeah.
days when it
to do
should have taken 3 months.
to do my 88 days. It took me 4.5 months.
Which is, when you think about the fact that in your second year they ask us to do
6 months.
that, if that was extended, that would be most of your second year gone.
Yeah. Like, I feel like if I went to Farmgate, which was the place I went to do my farm work in Childers, to do 6 months of farm work, I probably would have been there for like 8 months or something.
It's wild.
Because, yeah, there's a lot of reasons why, and we'll probably go into it.
So yeah, stick around and we will get Jamie to answer some questions about his experience of working in Childers in Queensland. I'll be asking him how he got his farm work, his highlights and lowlights, telling us some stories.
Telling us some stories.
Like telling us what the farm was like and what the working hostel was like. So, stick around. So cringy. Okay.
Why did it feel a lot more like natural last time?
Oh, it didn't.
I don't worry, it didn't. That was just your editing skills.
Where should we start? So, I could have gone with Jamie on the farm, but I thought it was a bad time to go because it's warm down in Melbourne and it's really hot up in Queensland. So, do you think you went at the right time of the year?
I think a lot of people kind of questioned, like, why did you go during those times in summer? Because I think a lot happened in January. There's like fun times in the city, you have like Australia Day and things like that. There's a lot of bank holidays and things like that. But we kind of always did talk about doing our farm work in January, but as it was leading up to it, I was kind of thinking like, oh, I don't know if it is the right time and I wish I could travel more. But after Sydney and New Year's and Christmas and stuff in Sydney, I literally ran out of money.
You came out on the 1st of December to Australia,
Yeah,
and then 1st of January you were in the process of sorting.
I ran out of money
in
like 1 month. So we were kind of trying to make the decision of either like going on a farm or staying in Sydney and finding jobs for a little bit. So there was like a week after New Year's where we were applying to a shit ton of farms, but also applying to quite a lot of jobs in Sydney. And then we were just going to take whichever one came back to us first. And yeah, people were saying you shouldn't go and do farm work in summer because that's when it's most fun. We didn't really have a choice, to be honest, because of money. And I don't have a lot of experience in like retail shops or anything to work in Sydney or in hospitality, and I didn't really want to work in hospitality in Sydney.
And so you're going to try and avoid it in Melbourne as well, because
yeah,
if you think about it, I didn't have any hospitality experience that was recent, and I got auntie in as well.
Yeah.
So it was going to be fine. It was just not, January wasn't a good time.
Yeah.
To get a job in Sydney because it was like, you know, Trijan and stuff.
Yeah. So we applied to loads of farms. We were kind of looking at like Facebook pages of people who like posting about farm work, and also looking online and applying to farms like directly to them on their websites.
How did you find farm work?
So yeah, we were going, there's like pages on Facebook like 88 Days, Backpackers, and people either on there like saying what their current situation is and what they're looking for, or there's farms on there who are posting for workers. But a lot of them on there were kind of just looking for like 2 people, or like posting about one availability, and then it was getting snapped up really fast. So we actually found Farmgate through one of those Facebook pages, and it was a link to their Facebook website, and it's like a working hostel where you go there up in Queensland. There's actually 2 Farmgates. There's one in Childers and there's one in Bundaberg, and you apply through like a portal online, put your name and everything, your contact details, and then they'll contact you if there's space. So we did that, and then a couple of weeks later, I think it took, we actually got a call from them saying that there was availability for us to come and join the hostel. They didn't have work for us yet, but they kind of promised us on the phone that as soon as we'd get there, actually show our faces at the hostel, and they'd be able to get us on a farm straight away. So we were like, happy days.
I remember you applying for farm work when we were in Wake Up Hostel before Christmas.
Yeah.
So this was like the 22nd of December.
Yeah.
And then within 2 or 3 weeks, you were on your way to Childers. And
we got a couple of people coming back to us. There was one farm that came back to us in Cairns, and he had a job for me on a tractor, which at the time I was like, oh my god, a tractor job, like laughing about it with everyone. Now I'm like, that's so normal, because I drove a tractor in Childers and it was funny. They didn't say they had guaranteed work for us in Cairns. They kind of wanted us to go to the hostel, and then they were saying they'd find us something, whereas Farmgate was saying, come here, and once you're here, like, we'll be able to get you on a farm straight away. So we're like, fine, happy days. We booked our transport then to go to farm work. So the 2 girls I was travelling with, it's quite a long journey from Sydney to Childers basically, and you could either get the train from it was a train from Sydney to Brisbane, and then Brisbane Greyhound to Childers where it was, and that was the cheaper option. But I wanted an extra couple of days in Sydney, because that train journey actually takes like 30 hours, and I wanted an extra day in Sydney, and I had a little bit more money than them, so I decided to choose an option to fly from Sydney to Hervey Bay, which then Hervey Bay is only an hour drive from Childers. So
did you get the Greyhound then from you used David's Greyhound pass,
yes,
didn't you?
Yeah.
Just joking.
Joking.
I was gonna say, so I've been working for Welcome to Travel in Melbourne, and someone I spoke to, or someone called us in and they said, can you help us? We've gone to a farm in Queensland, we've got there, and they've promised us work, and then they've turned around and said, we haven't got a job for you.
But what farm was that?
I don't think it was Farmgate, it was a different one. What do you think it could have been?
It does happen. So basically then we got to Farmgate.
You were lucky.
We had like nightmares at the start.
Oh, tell me more.
Tell me more. So we got to Farmgate. Oh my god, like getting off the Greyhound. The Greyhound arrived to Childers. Driving through it, we were like, what have we got ourselves into? Like,
no.
It was just one literal street. It looked like it was just like 2 shops. You couldn't really work it out. We pulled up to the side of this road. It was like very, very rural. And I remember we were like making a joke getting off the bus, like literally clinging onto the seats, like don't make us get up, because we had just come from like this really fun travelling experience in like Sydney and stuff. And then we got to Farmgate, we were arriving there, and it was kind of like just all these different like separate cabins and stuff, and we arrived in the night and we were just like, what is going on?
Just had to get into bed in the dark.
I just had to get in. Well, it wasn't
the next day you started farm work?
No, so it wasn't really in the dark. It was like we had our own room. It was me and 2 girls, and then
not even staying with Lydia and Vic at that point.
Yeah, I mean they are the 2
right.
girls.
2 girls, your 2 friends.
I don't know why I said that. Yeah, me and Lydia and Vic, the 2 girls I'm travelling with, we were in our own room. It was a room of 4, but there wasn't a 4th person in there. Basically, everyone has cabins, so it's like 2 rooms of 4.
The cabin dolly bar.
It's like the cabin dolly bar, and 2 rooms of 4, and then you have like a little shared kitchen area. Each cabin does.
Yeah.
It's quite nice having your own kitchen. So we got there, and then yeah, the next day we woke up. I remember we went up to like the reception area and was like, "So when are we starting on the farm? Like, have you got work for us yet?" And they were like, "Oh, like, we think you'll be on the mango farm with Simpsons, who is actually like a massive farm in America. In Australia, if you look them up, like they're the biggest supplier of like mangoes and avocados in Australia." So we were like, "Cool." They were like, "Come back tomorrow, we'll tell you like when you'll be working, when we started and stuff." Another day passed, went back, and they were like, "Oh yeah, like we still haven't heard from the farm." Basically took about a week and a half for us to even start work. I don't know what the hold up was. I think they probably did lie to us a little bit and just wanted us to get to the hostel first, so we were there.
Pay that accommodation.
And then that they would find us work. They did say we could pay half price rent for the weeks that we didn't have work sorted out.
That's good.
So we did that. So
and how much was the rent?
The rent when we got there was $240 a week, and that was including transportation to the farm. It was kind of split, like your actual accommodation was $168 a week, and then transport to the farm was $72 a week. But we all kind of didn't really like that kind of price. That was very
You didn't like
it. we all kind of had an issue with that price basically, because the accommodation was the transport was one base cost of $72 for everyone, and some of us would have a farm that's like 10 minutes from our hostel, and some of us would have a farm that's like an hour from our hostel. So we were like, why are we paying 72 a week for like a 10-minute lift to the hostel when they must be making so much money off everyone, because like they're overpaying for the fuel basically. So that was a bit annoying. But yeah, it worked out as $240 a week. So we started mango picking with Simpsons about a week and a half after we arrived at Farmgate. And then it was like kind of a rainy season then as well when we first got there. So for the first about month, we probably got rained off like 2 or 3 days every week, which is bad because one, you have to work over 30 hours a week for it to count as 7 days.
I thought it has to be at least 38 hours a week to count as 7 days.
30.
What?
It's 30.
Where'd you get that from?
Like, everywhere.
Because they say as long as you're working full-time hours. So this information isn't like, you know how contentious and like confusing the whole, like what counts as 88 days, how many hours you need to do. Who said it's 30? Like
the 88 days app. I think it definitely is 30. That's like what all of us were like abiding to.
Oh my god. That's low, because I thought it was 38. It says on the government website something about working the same number of hours as a full-time employee. So like how many hours does a full-time employee... Was there anybody in your farm who was full-time? Or were you all casual?
Casual. Yeah, see, I think it's like 30 hours, weekly hours equals 7 days.
I trust that, because the 88th day, everybody uses that.
Yeah. That's the app that we use to calculate all of our days, and that's what, yeah, that's how we know when to leave and stuff. So it was annoying that we'd got rained off quite a lot at the start, because we wouldn't get our full 30 hours, which means we wouldn't get 7 days, and we said we'd only actually have like
accumulate like 3 days a week.
Yeah, out of that week we'd only have like the actual days that we worked. So we ended up like, I think after a month of being at Farmgate, we only had like 10 days down in our calculator, which was so annoying
as well, because you're like, am I really going to be here for that long? But then they reassure you that the rainy season's going to end.
Yeah, that's when I was like in my era of just like wanting to leave. I was like, why am I here? Like, it's raining, like I'm not saving money at all. And also, just a little tip, do not go on a mango farm. like mango farm was absolute hell on earth.
Ooh,
when you
we need to go into that as well, like what?
Yeah, so mangoes have like a sap. When you're picking a mango and you pull it from the tree and the stem, it has like this like sap that like squirts out of it. It's like creamy and white. You get that on your skin, there's like a 70% chance that you'll react to it and have like a really bad allergic reaction to it. So you have to kind of go onto the farm and you have to have all your body covered up. So you have to wear a long sleeve top, long sleeve trousers, and obviously like a hat and everything, gloves. And at that time, because it was like peak summer, it was like 40 degrees every day, so you'd have to go fully thingy, fully like covered up and everything, which was hell because it was so sweaty. And the way it worked was that you'd kind of all be going down these rows of mango trees together, and there'd be a big truck driving behind you, which was like a kind of like a truck with a washer on it, and you'd have someone whose job it was to be like a de-sapper, which would you'd pick, like, whoever would be picking, you'd pick the mangoes off the trees, give them to the de-sapper, then they'd pull the stems off, squirt the sap out, wash the mangoes, all the sap off, and throw them into the middle of the truck that, like, washed them. But it was almost kind of guaranteed that even if you were covered up, then you'd have some form of sap, like, splash on you somehow, because, like, it would go under your gloves, or even, like, sometimes it would squirt on your face, and you'd be like, oh my god, the sap's just gone on my face.
So this is what happened to someone who, I don't know if you can see it, I'm probably best off putting a picture of, I'll just put a picture here and of what the mango rash looks like if you don't know. Yeah, it
was bad, and like it doesn't actually show like instantly mango rash on your skin, so you could think like, oh, I'm not one of those people that's having a reaction to it because I can see that it's gone on my skin and nothing's happened. But like over time, once mango rash gets in your system and you are having a reaction to it, it builds up inside your system and gets worse and worse, and then it will all kind of just come out. So literally like 2 or 3 weeks into the mango work, people were just dropping like flies and just like coming out on all these rash. There was one point where like 50% of the people on our farm were off with mango rash, and it's really like once you've had it bad, your body absolutely can't be anywhere near that sap. So Lydia, my friend who got mango rash really, really bad, we had like washed all our clothes like every night after being on mangoes. We'd put our clothes in the washer and stuff. We'd put our clothes in the washer, and even now, if Lydia touched a top that I had worn on a mango farm, probably like 40 washes later, should flare up in a rash.
No way.
Yeah,
that's horrible.
I changed Lydia's bed sheet a few weeks
because you're immune to it.
A few weeks before we left Farmgate. I had been on avocados for like a month and a half. I hadn't even picked mangoes for like a month and a half, but I had obviously been wearing the same work clothes. It had been washed like countless times. I got on Lydia's bed and changed her bed sheets for her one day when I was still wearing my work clothes. I completely forgot that she can't go anywhere near them. She slept in those sheets that I had just touched, and she came out in mango rash again the next day.
Oh my god.
That's like 3 months after she had even got it.
That's insane.
So it's so
Stay
strong.
away from the mangoes.
And then you get on, and then stuff like that happens, and you can't find another farm, and you're off work really bad with mango rash, and then things like that happen, and you're just like covered in mango rash. You're off work, can't find you another farm, and you just have to pay to then live in a hostel where you're literally doing absolutely nothing. So don't risk it. Don't go on a mango farm.
Like if you do, you might be one of the lucky ones.
Yeah, you might be one. I was the lucky one. I noticed sap went on my skin and I didn't react to it, but more people than not do get mango rash. And the farms don't really like care for you that much because they see it every year. They kind of put the blame on you because they assume that you haven't covered up properly or anything. And the only thing that they'll do is tell you to like literally go home and don't come in. Like after we finished the season of mango picking, we were pruning the mango trees, like cutting them and stuff. And even the people who had mango rash recovered weren't allowed to come in and do any work on the pruning either because they didn't want to risk them going near any of the mango trees just in case there was some sap on it. So yeah, I wouldn't risk.
Did Lydia say she was in pain with that rash?
Yeah. Lydia had nights where she couldn't sleep the whole night. She was having to get up at like 3 AM to go to a shared shower like far from our room and have cold showers in the middle of the night because it was just so hot and horrible.
Bless her.
Yeah, she hated it. Hers was more on her body, but some people it spread to their neck and their face, and their eyes would go so puffy they couldn't see. It was so bad.
People on the farm.
Yeah.
And by the way, Jamie's got this scar.
That was just because I fell when I was drunk.
Not mango rash.
Stupid thing.
God, that's so interesting, but so tapped.
Yeah, so tapped. But then after mango, not mango rash, we went on to avocados. So mango season runs from probably like January to March, I'd say, like early March, quite a short season. And then avocado season starts from about like early April, and that runs all the way to the end of August. Avocados is like super popular fruit in Australia, and like that's where like most farms are. So I think once avocado season starts, that's where a lot of farm work opens up, because like they need so many workers for the avocado trees.
That's also where the weather gets shitty down in Sydney and Melbourne, where people potentially go up to Queensland where it's not as hot as it has been, and then there's like loads of demand. So right now in like my job, we're getting loads of people asking about farm work, but there's like waiting lists of, I don't know, 45 people, but Jamie said that isn't a lot because loads of people are actually leaving as well. So
there's always people coming and going, but there's so many. Like, we drive past rows and rows of avocado farms that aren't even Simpson's, the ones we're working on, but Simpson's farm, our avocado farm that we worked in, is the biggest supplier of avocados in Australia. And they have 3 massive farms around Childers. Like, they said like millions of avocados we'll pick in that season. They make so much money on these farms as well. So from the mango season, they make all of their money back for the business, and everything that they make on avocados is all profit. So like, they're super rich, which is stupid because they act quite stingy on the farm. But like, we had a barbecue, and we were allowed like 1 sausage and 1 beer.
Wow. Don't treat you well then.
But yeah,
you'll always appreciate those perks now in any new job.
Avocados was very easy, so we were just like, with mangoes you had to like use the snippers and stuff and like cover yourself up, but no, avocados there's no risk, so we could wear shorts and t-shirt. We just pull the avocados off the trees with our hands. You're either on the ground picking them, so you're just putting them in a bag and like walking with them and emptying them into a big bin, which is tiring, but it's still quite easy. Or you're in like a machine called a cherry picker, where it's like a big crane.
Insert photo here.
A big crane that you kind of control yourself with like a pad on the floor, which I was in, and you use that pad to like lift you up and go left and right, and that's used to get the avocados right on the top of the trees. And there's honestly so many avocados in the trees. Like, avocados kind of disguise themselves in the tree. They look like leaves. So when you're on the outside, you don't think there's many on there because they look like leaves. So you have to go kind of inside the tree and look outside so you see the silhouettes. And then when you go and look out, there's like hundreds in the trees.
So you're in these trees with all the bugs?
Yeah, there's not bugs really there though. I was surprised at how little bugs and wildlife we saw on the farm. I saw one spider.
Too hot?
Saw one spider. I think they spray the trees to deter them.
Pesticide on the
we saw quite a few kangaroos in the farm, saw some wild pigs. I saw a dead wild pig, which was gross. There's a lot of birds. A few people saw some snakes in the trees and some brown snakes on the floor. I never saw one. A lot of like lizards and stuff, but that's fine.
So you'd get up really early?
Yeah, so routine on the farm. What is good is it's like a 5-day week, so we'd have weekends most times, but it's good to have that built in.
It still counts as towards your days.
Yeah, unless sometimes if we had days off in the week because we were rained off, we'd work like a Saturday to make up the hours.
Oh, and then you still get...
Yeah, which we were more than happy to do because obviously we'd get the hours.
Yeah.
So we would wake up at around 5 every day. Because you kind of want to get in the farm early as possible because one, it's cooler to pick and like it's not as hot, and then I think that was the only reason, to be fair. I don't know, I think it's 2 reasons. Yes, we get about 5, and then we'd get the bus to the farm about 5:30, start work at like 6, and then you'd work till about 3 or 4, and you'd get a half an hour smoko, which is like
like 10 hours? It's a long day.
Work till like 9 hours, but you get like half an hour.
How was that 30 hour?
That was I can't really remember the mango hours too well, but on avocados, we started at...
You can't even remember spending your life for the bus.
We started at 7 on avocados and we finished at 4. And you'd have an hour break split up into 2 half an hours.
Do you do more than 30 hours a week?
Yeah, we do more than 30 hours. We'd want to do 8 hours, 5 days a week would be ideal. But we'd be rained off sometimes and stuff like that.
What was the pay?
So it was 26 an hour if you're on the ground picking, and then or if you're in the machine and the cherry picker, it's 28 because there's like a slight hazard pay. So we'd probably average around $700 to $900 a week based on like if you've been rained off for like a day or so, which is quite common. And then yeah, with rent at the start of at the first half of my farm thing, it was $240 a week, but they actually raised the prices in our hostel, which obviously went down a treat to 6-8 a week, so we'd have to take that off our wages.
So you were left with $432 a week after, if you were paid $700 a week.
Yeah, if we got paid like 700, and then obviously like you'd spend like 50 to 100 of that on your food shop for the week. And then if you want to have fun and go to like the pub, which we wanted to do because like life's quite boring there.
Is there anywhere to buy alcohol if you didn't want to drink at the pub and you wanted to drink in the...
Yeah, there's a couple of bottle shops in Childers, but they kind of discouraged us from drinking in the hostel anyway, even though we all did it. But kind of like, I wouldn't want to go to farm work and not go to the pub, because that was just like where all the memories happened, and everyone went there, and it was just like, that's where all the fun stuff happened.
Were you just on the farm the next day thinking about the memories from the night before? Like, what did you even think about when you were on the farm? You must have been so bored, just going through things in your mind.
Well, on Mangoes, we kind of like were all in a group, and there was like the person who was driving the truck was like with us and stuff, and we weren't allowed to wear headphones because they said it was against the rules at Simpsons. But on Avocados, because we were kind of more on our own, we'd go off on ourselves in the trees. We listened to headphones.
And you were allowed?
They said we weren't, but they wouldn't catch us because we were off on our own. And if they did catch us, they didn't really care. It was more on Mangoes because I think we were so close to that truck, they didn't want us listening to anything.
Yeah.
So Avos was fine because I was listening to podcasts and stuff. It would make the days go faster. Mangoes, you're just literally stuck in your head all day. So sometimes you'd be really depressed after a day of work because you're like, fuck, I've just thought about like life for like a day straight, and I hate my life. But
were you ever able to take some of the fruit home and eat after?
Yeah, you could take as much fruit as you wanted home, which was good. Like mangoes, and they tasted really nice out there. It didn't taste like UK stuff. Yeah, and then like really good having unlimited avos because avocados are quite expensive. So we were eating a lot.
Waste
of avos.
For me because I
you don't like them.
So you were left with like $362 after food and after.
And you want to go to the pub. No, that money. So
did you go pub every day?
No. Went to the pub like probably most Fridays and Saturdays.
Yeah.
And then toward the start of Farmgate, we'd go in the weeks maybe for like a couple of nights.
Getting to know people, you thought.
And stuff. But then I think as time went on, everyone became a bit more like, oh, we need to stop spending money and stuff.
Yeah. And
also doing the farm when you're hungover is just horrible. I only did it a couple of times when I was really horribly hungover. And my supervisor noticed straight away and like had a go at me, and it was just really like I didn't enjoy it.
You can tell when I know that you're hungover. Look. So how much have you actually been able to save on the farm then?
I didn't save anything really.
Nothing.
No, I kind of came back here to Melbourne with my final wage that got paid in on Monday. So some people saved, like if you had like a really boring time there and didn't go out once, you could save and just like. But those people didn't really have friends.
I still don't get what that $362 a week went.
I know.
All on alcohol.
Probably.
And you didn't eat out the whole time, you just cooked yourself?
We'd have like Mackies.
Are there Mackies and Childers?
We ate at the pub a few times. There's Mackies and Childers, we'll just go down the Subway.
Hash browns?
Sometimes you'd buy stuff like in the charity shops and stuff like clothes, but yeah, I don't know where it went.
Yeah, all your clothes are ruined now.
Just at the pub really. But by the
end,
you
should show them your socks.
Oh, do I have to?
Yeah, you do. All their socks are orange from the farm, and like
all
most
my
of
white
their clothes are
ruined. My washing machines are rubbish. They didn't wash anything in the hostel. Like they wouldn't properly wash your clothes, so all my white clothes are destroyed. Everything's just become a mess on the farm. So I think highlights.
Hang on, let me ask you. So Jamie, you spent 4.5 months on the farm.
Yeah.
Nearly 4 months. What was your highlight and your low light?
So I think highlight for me was, I don't know, an overarching thing. I think the highlight was like the people you met, because you're with the friends you make on the farm like 24/7. It almost feels like uni, but even more like you don't really leave that bubble. So you get so close to people, because obviously like you're quite far away from everyone, and it just feels like a different world. They kind of become your rocks in there, and like you kind of get super close and have the best time. And because of that, like it makes like the social things you do really fun. There's only 2 pubs in Childers, because you're going to the same ones every weekend. You kind of had to do things to make it feel a bit more fresh and exciting. So I think kind of a big highlight for me was the final week of farm work for my and Vic and Lydia's leaving. We held like a farm gate prom where everyone in the week had to do like cheesy proposals to people they wanted to ask for to be their prom dates. We like got helium balloons of like class of 23 and put them on our cabin and had everyone around, like got everyone to get dressed up in their nicest clothes and stuff. And that was a really fun night. I'd say that was a highlight.
When it was people's birthdays as well, it looked like you did like some sort of theme.
Yeah, I think like you just wanted to do stuff to keep it fresh.
Did you get anything ordered if you wanted something from Amazon, for example?
Yeah, you can order stuff there. A highlight, I guess, that I can look back and laugh about was there was one weekend that we went to the pub, came back at like midnight, 1 a.m. And we had done this a few weekends before. We had all just like took off all our clothes and went run and got naked and jumped in the pool. And we was all like screaming and being loud and stuff. And then I think the hostel started to kind of catch on that we were doing that. Came back from the pub one weekend and they had actually locked the gate to the pool. So we were all like, screw it. So we like jumped over the gate anyway. We were out there like drinking and playing music and stuff. All jumped in the pool. After I just got up and went straight back to my cabin, left all of my clothes, like everyone all left all their stuff by the pool. Me and Lydia went the next morning to collect everything at like 8 a.m. I was like holding my towel and stuff was just soaking because it had really left in the pool overnight. And the manager came over and was like, was this all of you? Did you go in the pool last night? And I was just like, I don't know. And just like walked away. And then one by one that day, we all started getting messages that we had been evicted from the hostel. We had to leave within 24 hours. And it was just horrible because we were all so close. None of us were prepared to leave. We didn't know what we'd do for work. We didn't know where we were going to go. It was the most anxious day ever. And then we managed to win the manager of the hostel round by the end of the day and just like apologise and act really, really sorry. Looking back, that was funny. But on that day, we were like, oh God, what are we going to do? And then a low light. What would be a low light for me?
I guess when like the guys left the farm and you were really sad. Like I remember you
yeah.
messaged me and you were like, I'm really, really sad that people are leaving.
I think a low light was people leaving because I think it's double-sided with the highlight. Like you get so close to people that it is just so shit when they leave. We had a couple of French guys, Sean and Matisse, that we got super, super close to. We spent all the time with them. And then one day they kind of just decided to leave and we didn't expect it. And that was a really horrible day. Funny thing is they actually came back to Farmgate as a surprise to see us for a weekend, which was really fun. And then they left again. But a week before we left, they actually came back to Farmgate to come back and actually work and stay again.
Oh, right.
And we were like, oh my God, amazing, they're back, blah, blah. We went out, got really drunk at the pub. They're crazy, they came back. Matisse was being really loud, going like, whoa, screaming. Sean got so drunk, he fell asleep in not his bed, in someone else's bed in his room. The next day, they got 3 complaints to management and got kicked out after 24 hours.
Oh no.
So they were gone again.
So this is the thing as well, if people are like going wild in the farms and getting kicked out and stuff, then like things become available. Like, places become available on the farm.
Yeah.
So would you say what was worse? Your friends leaving the farm or the farm work itself?
Oh.
I'm surprised you didn't say that was the low light, just the...
I think the mango farm work was the lowest of the low, but avocados was easy.
A dream.
Easy, it was a dream. God, was there any other lowlights? You do look back on it in like really happy memories and stuff because it was so fun, but I think like there was times on the farm where it did just feel really shit. There are times when it feels very claustrophobic because everyone's so close, everyone's so in each other's business and stuff as well, and like gossip spreads really fast there. You feel like you can't really hide anything. Everyone has such new friends there as well. It's hard to know at the start who you can trust. Like you'll talk to someone about something and then people just tell each other stuff. So when you feel like that, and also if you get moments when you're like homesick, I didn't feel homesick at all when I was traveling the East Coast and in Sydney and stuff. I got a couple of homesick moments at the start of the farm because I think it was like the first time I had taken a moment to just like stop and didn't have anything like busy and exciting going on. I haven't really been that homesick, but when you do feel like that and everyone's just like constantly around you and there's nowhere to be alone there, that can feel like a bit of a low light. I didn't have that much, but I know quite a few people that struggle with that a few times.
And you always knew that you had Lydia and Vic there who you could trust
some people
well.
Some people are fully on their own there. And
that's the thing about me going to do farm work now. Like I kind of wish I'd gone with Jamie and done it because, now I'm having to look on my own and...
to kind of make your own way there. But a lot of people at farm work came on their own and were fully fine. One of our best friends, Luke, who's coming down to Melbourne for my birthday, was on his own, and he's only 20, and he's fine. I think my main takeouts from farm work are, if you're like a person who's quite similar to us, like is very social, enjoys like going out, and is doing it with a view of like, I'm gonna save loads of money, you're most likely not going to. But it's a good thing to do, if you want to do your 88 days, if you want to meet some new friends. I do feel like it's an experience as well. Like I'll look back when I'm older and think like, wow. Remember when I was working on an avocado farm in the middle of nowhere, like operating a crane? Flash forward to a year before when I was like in an office in London, and I was like, there's such different vibes, but it's a funny story, and like, yeah, I don't regret it, is what I'd say.
That's good.
Yeah.
One thing I want to say though is, this is my vlog. This is my vlog channel, so thanks for joining us and finding me via this video. Jamie's been talking a lot. I haven't spoken much because I haven't had any experience of being on the farm. But yeah, if you want to like and subscribe, I might go and do my farm work, so I can share that with you. And now Jamie's in Melbourne. If I do end up staying here, you'll see more of him. So I'm sure you're loving him after this vlog because he's very addictive.
Addictive. I've never been called that before.
You did get addicted to a boy on the farm. Love life on the farm then. You want to talk about that?
Love life on the farm. Everyone kind of, there's not much else to do, so everyone gets into little, I guess, farm flings, you'd call it. So yeah, I don't want to go too much into that. But yeah, I think that would happen. I guess it's just a general thing to know about Farmgate, is that if you go to Farmgate in Childers, you're on the farm with, I guess, a lot of like Europeans, Americans or whatever, but also you're on the farm with Pacific Islanders who are kind of from islands of like Samoa, the Polynesian islands and things, and as part of their visa they come over from those islands to do farm work for like a season to provide for like family back home and things like that. And the hostel organises their farm work for them as the same they would do for us. It's great that they do that and everything, like they need to get work in it and things like that, but I think the cultures are quite different. And there was a few different moments where the Islanders, the Pacific Islanders, kind of get drunk and be a little bit creepy with some of the girls like in our group, or some of the like the European girls would like enter their room unwarranted and kind of follow girls around and things like that in Farmgate. And the management of the farm would victim blame those girls and say that those girls shouldn't have been drinking because that encourages the Islanders to drink and condones that behaviour, instead of actually taking appropriate action and kind of going to the police and talking about these Islanders to them. Because obviously I think the hostel would be worried about losing money if these Pacific Islanders can't stay there. It was honestly a select few of these Islanders, and like literally 98% of them are completely fine and were really nice to share that hostel with, and they were really funny. Like I had conversations with them and stuff, but the actual management of when there was differing cultures and things going wrong between the two, the management from the hostel wasn't great because they were scared of losing money. So I wouldn't let that put you off, but I think yeah, it's just a good thing to know about, I guess, the management
on the Farmgate.
Yeah, optional Farmgate.
So if somebody said to you, next year you have to go in your second year and do 6 months of farm work, you wouldn't do it?
I wouldn't do 6 months, no.
No.
Because one, I don't think it would actually take 6 months. I think it would take longer from like getting rained off and actually finding the work once you get there. And that's just too long. Like, I felt like a completely different person coming back from Childers to like a city, because you just see the same people for 4 months straight. And you see the same shops, same two pubs, have the same kind of conversation topics and things like that. And coming back from that after 4 months was wild. And I think coming back from that after like 7 months, I'd be mentally disabled.
So yeah, I think you'd rather go up and do your tourism and hospitality.
Yeah, I think if I had to do half a year, I would do like hospitality.
Yeah, it's good that you can split it up and you don't have to do it in the same place. You don't have to do your 88 days in the exact same location or the same industry. You just have to get your 88 days done.
I want to try and get sponsored next year anyway.
It's a good idea. Do you want to stay in Australia long term?
I haven't decided on a long term yet, but I'm probably looking at like 3 or 4 years.
So the sponsorship would just be for?
Just to stay on for like a 3rd year, I guess. But there's always talk of new visas coming out. Who knows what's going on with that?
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
That then.
Thank you for joining this Q&A with Jamie. If you have any more questions about it, farm work in general, and want to hear more of his experiences, just comment below and I'm sure Jamie will get back to you.
Yeah, I will.
So yeah, I've really enjoyed hearing about Jamie's farm work experience. And I've missed him. I'm glad he's back in Melbourne, in civilization with me. Plus, fingers crossed that there's going to be an announcement from the go live of the UK free trade agreement. Let's hope that they're going to change the rules for people on their working holiday visas sooner rather than later. Right now we don't have any more information on when there's going to be an announcement, but we are hoping end of May, so that I don't have to go and do my days, because yeah, I'm gonna have to go through all the process that you did, maybe going on Facebook groups and finding farms and stuff, and actually go on my own somewhere remote, which kind of scares me, and I don't really want to be doing that. I'd rather, you know, be in the city and then just go on holidays to places like where there are nice, you know, beaches and stuff.
Yeah.
So hope for me, pray for me, and let's just cross our fingers that they're gonna change these rules.
Come on, government.
Yeah.
Bring it on.
Finally, the news is here regarding the UK and Australia free trade agreement for working holiday makers like me. From 1st of July 2024, UK passport holders can be granted up to 3 separate working holiday visas without having to meet any specified work requirements. This is amazing because it means that Brits like me will no longer have to do farm work. Previously, it was a requirement to do 88 days of specified work to be able to apply for your second year visa, and then 6 months of specified work for a third year visa. From July 2024, people from the UK will be able to apply for a first, second and third year working holiday visa with no specified work requirement. Thanks, Jamie.
Thanks, Vicky.
Bye! Like last time.
Bye!
So, what was it? It was like, push up the hair. You were like, I can't remember what you did.
What was
it was
it?
that I watched it way more times than you. Our last Q&A, we ended the video and we like were really awkward and we were like, so, bye!
Bye! Bye! And if you get every night after being on mangoes, we put our clothes in the washer and stuff. Stuff. We'd put our clothes in the washer. So welcome. So welcome.
We're different people in a way, but the same.
The same.
Telling us some stories.
Telling us some stories. Why did I eat nuts? Let me shoot out. I'm not picking my teeth the whole video.
I'm hungry and I got no food yet because we got a food shop coming.
Exactly the information they need.
Like telling us what farm was like and what the working hostel was like. So, I'm cringy. Okay, what? So tell me. Thumbnail.
What?
Let's talk to the couch.
We'll talk to the couch.
Oh my god.
I think you said, what time do the cows come out? I was like, where? We'll talk till the cows come home. We'll talk till the cows come home.
We'll talk till the Irish girls come home.
The Irish. The cows. The cows back.
Oh.
Cool.
Don't worry.
Don't worry.
I just go where the feeling goes. Sending love to my friends and foes.